Hi, this is Jack Stanley, and I'm speaking to you from Chicago, Illinois. And this is where I will be speaking to you from now on. I just recently made the trip, which was quite an adventure. Moving is always an adventure in itself, but something when you have a massive amount of books and a massive amount of records and all kinds of other stuff, it turns a move into a absolute catastrophe on wheels. I mean, that's what a move seems to be when you have lots of stuff. I've worked myself down in the amount of books I had and the amount of records I had and the amount of this and that and everything else. And now I have about 450 books and maybe about 500 records. I used to have at one time, at the height of the size of my library, it was close to 3,000 books. So we've whittled things down quite a bit, but that's fine. But it was quite an adventure driving here. We went through lots of storms, a lot of wind. In fact, when we arrived here in Chicago, there was a severe windstorm going on. Who would guess? It's the Windy City, right? Of course, that has nothing to do with the weather. It has to do with the politics, but that's another story altogether. And there was a windstorm, and the winds were blowing around 50, 55 miles an hour. And when you try to move furniture or anything else in that kind of wind, you were running into mayhem. And it was an adventure in itself. Luckily, everything got in without being broken except for one piece. A shelf kind of fell apart in the wind. But everything else worked its way in. It was fine. And that was good. And so now I'm here, lots of books behind me, piled up in boxes and this, that, and everything else. And so it'll take a little while to put everything together. But I wanted to talk about adventures. And it's been my fortune, I guess, to put it this way, that I have experienced a tremendous amount of fascinating adventures in my life and known so many fascinating people and talked to so many folks and learned so much and had my pulse on the very, very artery of history at times. And now, here in Chicago, I hope to start doing somewhat the same, something new, something exciting, a new adventure. But with every new adventure, one has to give credit to previous adventures. And it has been my fortune, as I mentioned, to have done many different things. But perhaps the greatest adventure of all for me was teaching. I was lucky enough to teach in a private school in New York City, a rather prestigious private school. And it was a great joy for me because I had never taught before. I did not have the credentials to teach. They talked to me and they said, "You don't need them, you're fine. You know more than most people." So they said, "Fine." I said, "Great." And so I taught. And I'll tell you something. It was indeed the greatest adventure of my life. It was the greatest joy of my life. It was also the greatest heartache. I mean, it was a lot of work. And of course, I was learning as I went. And I had some of the greatest kids you can imagine. And I still talk to a few of them. And maybe some of them might even see this and say hi and that kind of thing. I learned a lot from them and they learned a lot from me because I had a philosophy with teaching. And I think a lot of teachers have this kind of a philosophy. And I take my hat off to anyone who teaches because it is a noble profession to take knowledge and share it, to increase the understandings of young people. Because that is what we're all about. Because we are here for just a while, and we need to take the knowledge, the experience, the understandings that we have and share them with the next generations. That is imperative. And that is what the job of a teacher is. And my belief was you looked at the page, you looked at the book, and then you went way beyond it. I didn't believe in just following what a book said. I wanted to take the students on an intellectual ride beyond that and look at worlds they had never seen before. And I think that's one of the greatest joys of teaching and the greatest gift you can give. So here I am in Chicago, the Windy City, and ready to start anew. Lots of things are starting anew for me. I'm getting married. I'm going to settle down. I'm going to look for new things to do. And who knows, maybe I could teach here. Maybe I could set up the credentials and teach. Maybe I could do whatever it may take. But I have the experience, and I have the training from some really great kids. And I want to use that experience, whether I teach or not, in lectures and talks, to help other kids learn. Because once again, we are here for just a little while. And every bit that we can teach, every bit we can give, is worth its weight in gold and will help the upcoming generations. So that's pretty much what I had to say. And to all of you teachers, my hat's off to you, because you are very important, because you influence an age you will never live to see. That is the gift of a teacher. And that is the story of a teacher. They will influence a world. And they won't be there, but their influence will be. Thank you.